When did you realize that something was wrong?
My forehead protruded out over my eyes. I realized I was in trouble.
We go undercover into the dangerous world of med spa scams and botched procedures leaving women permanently disfigured.
I was terrified. Facial paralysis, blindness.
We're blowing the whistle on fake, untrained doctors and unethical technicians who want to perform treatments on you.
Coming up next.
Today, we go undercover into the dangerous world of med spa scams and botched procedures leaving women permanently disfigured. We're blowing the whistle on fake, untrained doctors and unethical technicians who want to perform treatments on you. And we're about to show you graphic images that are hard to take in, but they're important for you to see with your own eyes so you don't become the next victim. Are you ready for this? This is a third-degree burn, a series of them, from a laser hair removal. The person was perfectly normal before. Here's skin scarring from anti-aging treatments. And here's facial disfiguration. If you have this, it could change your life forever. In fact, this is Carol, and I want to show you a picture before the standard procedure that she thought she was having, the one that she thought would bring back her youth. She never imagined that she could end up blind in one eye, severely depressed, and contemplating suicide. And after hiding her face from the world for 3 years, Carol has had 7 corrective surgeries, and she's bravely appearing here today with a warning for all of you. Carol, thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I know it takes a lot to come on, and I appreciate your motivation. So how are you doing as we speak right here?
I'm good. I'm great. I actually feel blessed and thankful to be able to share my message.
So let's go back to the very beginning. How safe did you feel when this person was injecting your forehead, your face?
Well, we're taught to revere doctors and trust their advice and judgment and their authority. So I felt like I was in expert hands. And
I just want to understand this in part to teach me, but also so others don't get conned. Did you know much about this person? Were they a board-certified physician? What was their rank? Any idea about their background?
There was no board certification. It was an aesthetic medical practitioner.
And just to clarify for everybody, Carol's knowledge, she received a silicone injection. These are not approved fillers by the FDA, in part because they're made of permanent material that when injected into a part of the body, like the face, they can migrate within the tissues, and it causes distortion. It can also block blood vessels or nerves, which can lead to serious side effects like losing your vision. Those are the kinds of fears as a doctor that I have. So as I look at this haunting picture, the one that I'm sure that is ingrained in your memory as well, when you realized what had gone on, how did you make sense of this? When you realized that this is going to have a lasting effect on your life?
Well, I was terrified, and I felt extremely alone. I didn't know where to go for help. I didn't trust anyone, obviously. But I was not about to give up.
You talked to your family?
Well, initially, I isolated myself from my friends and my family. And
why would you isolate yourself? What were you feeling?
I realized I wasn't going to be able to go out in public with the face that I had. And I actually was ashamed. And I didn't know how to explain it.
Yet, after 3 years, the fighter that you are, you decide to come forward to face the world again. Why? And how'd you do that?
My daughter.
Your daughter.
My daughter and my faith. And basically, she needed her mother back. She sent letters to all the teaching hospitals in the country, and only one responded, and that was UCLA. And I get choked up when I mention these doctors' names because they saved my life. But Reza Jarihi and Dr. Brian Boyd out of UCLA took my case with all of their peers, discouraging them to take it. And they saved my life and gave me a new chance at life.
I want to talk about them, but I think your daughter may have saved your life as much as they did.
She did.
So, did she get her mom back?
She did.
She got her mom back. So, I want to lay this out. This is remarkable. Carol had to go through 7 very high-risk corrective surgeries. Right? This is her in the hospital. And, you know, that is actually, I'll show that photo. That photo was taken after the most risky 16-hour surgery. And if you don't mind, I mean, how has the recovery been? The surgeons have told us they had never done a procedure like this on anybody.
No, it was unprecedented. They didn't have books that they could open and know what to do. So I did. I went under anesthesia for 16 hours, multiple times, and allowed them to basically remove my forehead down to the bone and take a piece of my back and microvascularly reconnect it. So the the risks were, you know, facial paralysis, blindness, and also that it wouldn't revascularize.
That picture you see of Carol with the swollen forehead, that's her back tissue that has been moved to her forehead, which again is remarkable that it could even be done,
right,
much less work. So after all this, what has stunned me the most is the fact that you don't seem to harbor anger towards the person who started this whole cascade by injecting you with silicone.
Right. Well, there isn't much sense to that. It happened. I can't change that it happened. I can change what happens from here on. That's why I launched an initiative called Saving Face, and it is to advocate for the safe and ethical practice of aesthetic medicine, cosmetic procedures, and basically to teach people how to do their homework, yeah, and educate themselves before they get into any doctor's chair.
I really have to applaud you for turning a painful experience and helping to change others' lives. Up next, our investigation continues. We're going undercover to expose rogue medical spas operating with unlicensed professionals. Stick around. You did a wonderful job. We are back exposing a dangerous scam leaving women permanently disfigured. Rogue medical spas. Now, our cameras went undercover to find out just how dangerous these spas are. Our undercover investigations into rogue medical spas have been going on for years, offering everything from facials and massages to more complex medical procedures like Botox, lasers, and liposuction. Med spas have exploded in popularity. The lower cost and convenience make med spas attractive to their clients. But regulation is sporadic, and our hidden cameras discovered a dangerous downside.
Can I see the doctor today? He's only here on Thursdays.
So you're the doctor? Actually, I'm not the doctor, I'm a technician.
Most states don't require a doctor to be in the room or even in the building during sensitive laser and injection procedures. So some doctors simply rent out their names from afar.
Can I talk to the doctor later on?
We don't have a doctor.
In another investigation, we discovered the unauthorized use of my name on the door.
So does it completely get rid of the cellulite, or?
You have to do at least 6 to 10 sessions.
There, the sales consultant made medically false statements, claiming an ultrasound procedure could get rid of cellulite.
And it won't 100% get rid of the cellulite?
Yeah.
We questioned whether the treatment was approved.
It couldn't hurt me, basically, is what I'm saying. Is it approved by whoever it's supposed to be approved?
It's approved.
In fact, the treatment was not FDA approved. One investigation after another turned up suspicious red flags.
Estheticians do lasers.
Yep, estheticians do lasers. The doctor doesn't inject you. The nurse does. I see.
In the right hands, cosmetic procedures can tighten and slim, but in the wrong ones, they can blind, burn, even kill. Joining me now is Andrea, who fell victim after purchasing a coupon for laser hair removal. And I want to share some images of the third-degree burns she endured. And her skin actually burned in the shape of the actual laser used during the treatment. You can see little marks. Each of those is a laser mark. So how are you doing now?
Well, it definitely took a toll on my body image. I wasn't able to make plans with my friends, go out to the beach. Everything had to be covered.
How did you first hear about this Medi Spa that scarred you?
Actually, my boyfriend at the time had purchased a coupon for me, but he's a doctor, so
He's a doctor?
He's a doctor, yeah.
And yet he got your coupon from a Medi Spa?
Yeah.
My goodness. I guess that's why he's your ex-boyfriend. So we looked into the coupon that Andrea purchased for this treatment, and it touted, I'm going to quote them, they will explain all the technologies at their disposal before sitting down for a consultation to determine a patient's individual desires and goals. And Andrea, you see the opposite happened when you got there.
Yeah. So I showed up, I got my laser hair treatment, and I had asked the tech if she was able to take some of the scars, remove scars away from my back. I had some acne scars, and so, you know, she agreed, and I got the laser done. I was, you know, questioning in my head why she hadn't used a different probe.
Right.
But I thought she knew what she was doing, so I kind of just...
And she wasn't a doctor, right?
No.
Was this medically supervised? Was it a doctor there at all?
No, never spoken of at all.
It's one of my biggest concerns is, you know, the owners of these spas can be opportunists, right? Looking to take advantage of vulnerable folks. I'm sort of surprised that something that could cause scarring could occur without any medical supervision at all. So you've obviously thought about this, and I look at your image there, and I can understand why it changed your self-image, although I got to say you're a beautiful woman, and I hope it's not a lasting impact on you, even if they're scarring. But you have bravely come on the show to deliver a message. What is that message?
Definitely do your research. Know, you know, who you're trusting to do any type of procedure on your body, because, you know, not everything can be taken back.
I'm sorry you went through that, and I wish you the best going forward.
Thanks.
When we come back, a whistleblower sounding the alarm on exactly how unsafe these spas are behind closed doors. She's an ex-employee who also became a victim, plus how you can spot a fake doctor. We're back investigating rogue medical spas. I'm joined now on Skype by a former employee of one of these medical spas who became a victim herself. Now, she's asked to remain anonymous for fear of retaliation from her former employer. I thank you for joining us. And just so you know, the audience is going to be looking at a picture of the third-degree burns that you endured. So, since you were also in the spa and were a patient there, what went wrong in your case that you think could happen at other rogue medi-spas?
Well, first of all, there was never a doctor on site. He was the medical director, but he never showed up. And what's really frightening is at the end of the week, all the patients that we would come in and we would hard sell them, Dr. Oz. We wanted to get sales. Even people that probably weren't good candidates for procedures, we would hard sell them. These are thousands of dollar treatments. And at the end of the week, we would get to watch him just sign off without really going through their medical histories. I was a party to that, and I did see that, and I'm ashamed of that.
Well, it takes a lot to come forward, and I applaud you for that. Just tell me a bit about this doctor. I understand that after your treatment, he was barred from prescribing medications going forward?
From what I understand, since I'm no longer there, he lost his ability to prescribe drugs, which I would think would be a huge red light. And unfortunately, with my IPL, the nurse practitioner who was working on me at the time was working with a delinquent license.
Oh.
I find it fascinating that I can't drive a vehicle with a delinquent driver's license, but you can use a medical device with a delinquent one. She was exonerated by the Board of Nursing. They did not find that in my state a big red flag either.
But why was there no legal recourse here? Why would there be no way to enforce what seems to be a fair rule?
It's the wild, wild west when it comes to medi-spas in my state. There's not a lot of legislation. Doctors are not held to a very high standard. So I don't know. I don't know, but it needs to change. People are getting hurt. I'm not the only victim of the
Well, thank you very, very much for sharing your story, and I wish you the best, and I encourage you to stay vocal on this, even if you protect your identity. So let's talk to
Doctor.
Thank you. Let's talk to an expert now to find out how to choose the right Medi-Spa, because there are some good ones out there. Consumer expert Geeta Herzog is here to give us some other red flags to look for when picking a Medi-Spa. You say never trust a Medi-Spa just because the word medical is on the outside. So what are the current regulations on being able to call yourself a Medi-Spa?
First of all, Dr. Oz, I want to thank you so much for doing this segment. This is near and dear to my heart, seriously, because my father was a plastic surgeon. We would talk about this all the time. And so, to your point, there's no federal regulation. It's all regulated by state to state. So what the regulations are in California may be something different than it is in New Mexico. So you really have to do your research on that.
Let's get to the red flags. Red flag number one, buyer beware. It's the price paradox. Because a lot of these deals for these spas are on sites like Groupon. How do we know if we can trust these deals?
So usually when you have an invasive procedure, that means when they're cutting into you or they're putting you under anesthesia, it's going to be upwards of $10,000 or more. So when you see something that's around the range of $3,000, even $1,000, that should be a red flag right there. If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
All right, next red flag. A lot of spas claim positive reviews on certain spa sites, but unfortunately some of these things are fake. They're fake. So how do you know if the review is a legit one?
Right, so you want to look for keywords. If something is overly positive, you're seeing adjectives that are superior, amazing, great, that might be a red flag, as well as negative ones. If something is horrible, this is the worst, be aware of that.
And then there's a red flag of not having hospital privileges, which is a really important observation. So please explain what that is.
Right. So hospital privilege basically means a doctor, if a doctor is doing an invasive procedure, has the right to do the procedure at a hospital. In order to get privilege, a doctor has to be reviewed by their peers. The peers go ahead and look through their breadth of knowledge, the procedures that they do, their certifications, and then grant them the right to practice at a hospital.
So you're hearing a theme here, guys. Find docs who have expertise, who their brethren, other doctors validate, either through board certification or because they get to go to a hospital if they want.
Exactly, that's the best way.
So we reached out to the American Med Spa Association for a statement. Here's what they said. I was impressed. The overwhelming number of med spas in existence are extremely safe and provide quality medical care by qualified practitioners in accordance with applicable law. Because the demand for spa services, med spa services, have grown dramatically, there have been some unqualified practitioners looking to make money without following the rules. It's a bold acknowledgement there's a problem. They go on to say that incidents from a few bad actors should not represent the industry as a whole, and they've launched an initiative to draft a core set of rules that the industry can universally adopt. They're going to start regulating themselves, which I think most organizations that are having problems ought to be doing, and I commend them for doing that. You can find their full statement and resources for consumers on DrOz.com. I'll be right back.